Welcome to analogy session number 2. Before we get started, I really want to show you a ring that one of the kids gave me for Valentine's Day. It's shaped like a flower. I'm quite impressed with it. Just thought I'd show off. So, this analogy I've actually been sitting on since my first week of work. It just came to mind one day when someone was just rubbing me up the wrong way by being overly negative, and I kind of just thought, like, yes, I know it's a leap, but I kind of just started thinking about space. Forgot I don't really need this mask. I'm in my apartment, so I don't need it. So in space, we've got a bunch of things, right? It's an infinite amount of things. 3 things I want to talk about today. We've got an asteroid. So if you don't know what an asteroid is, it's basically a giant space rock. Okay, it never glows. It's just a rock in space. It floats. That's what an asteroid does. Then we have something called a meteoroid, which is like an asteroid, but it glows as it enters the atmosphere, and then it eventually cools down and it's just a rock again. And then we have something that's a star. Now, a star is just a giant ball of gas. Our sun is an example of a star, and if you think about the sun, what do you think about? Light, and you think about heat, and you just think about the fact that it's pretty much always there. So even at night, it's still light, it's still lit up, and it never really changes, right? Eventually they will burn out, but for the most part a star has constant light, where an asteroid has no light, and a meteoroid lights up at first and then it cools down and it's just a chunk of rock, right? So the reason that I went from, hey lady, you're a little bit annoying because you're really negative, to hey, let's think about space, is because I think anything in life, it's difficult to say everything's a choice. Not everything is a choice, but most things in life where there is a choice involved can be likened to this analogy of these 3 things in space, right? When you're starting something, your attitude determines whether you are an asteroid, a meteoroid, or a star. Okay, if you're completely lost, that's fine. Let me take you on a journey through space and time. So if you come in hot and heavy and you got lots of energy and you got lots of enthusiasm, but over time that fades and you can't maintain, then I would say you're a meteoroid. You light up and then you fade, and then eventually you're just a chunk of rock, right? And I mean, I guess we all go through phases. Maybe like every day we could be a star and then a meteoroid and then an asteroid. Like we have times where we're just not always at peak performance, right? But I'm looking at this like more long term. If we analyze long term, from the start of a project, or in your high school career, or in your work career, or in your relationship, how are you handling it? Are you coming in hot and coming in like on fire, guns blazing, ready to attack everything, ready to take on the challenge? You're there. You're like, wow. Everyone that sees you is like, wow, so much passion. And then it fades. Then you're a meteoroid. Some people are stars, and I feel like we should all be striving to be stars. And if you don't think that you have the capacity to be a star in a certain situation, you should be like, hey, if my energy is going to fade in this, if my passion is going to fade in this, if it's not lasting, why am I investing in it, right? It's an effort. You've got to choose to invest in something. I'm not saying that, like, if you can predict that you're going to have a dip, then you shouldn't do something, you know. And some things you have to do, like high school, you have to do. But if you see a relationship and you're like, hey, I'm really into this right now, but I already see problems, I already know it's not going to last, I already know it's going to fade, why waste time? So when you come in and you're like, I'm not really passionate about something, maybe reconsider, right? But if you're a star, you come in with passion and you continue with passion. Yes, you can twinkle or whatever, you can have some clouds in front of you if you want to have an actual analogy like the sun. So you can fade, right? But you're still there, you're still burning, you're still going. The passion never dies. That should be the aim. So that 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, you're the same person, same passion, same energy. You're a star. Then we have people, like this specific person who was bugging me, and this is not an attack of this person, right? This is not at all. This is just a view of just humanity in general, and people are who they are, and space has all these different things and they have to be there, right? But I don't have to relate to that, and I don't have to be like, hey, be my best buddy if I don't want to be someone's best buddy, right? So it's not an attack on that person. It is just an observation on humanity in general, and we all coexist, and it is what it is, right? That's fine. So you get people that come in like an asteroid. They come in with zero interest, zero passion, zero anything, and then that's constant, just all the way through. They're like, hey, I'm a negative person, I'm just going to stay negative. In fact, sometimes they just become more of an asteroid, so much so that you just want to take the word toroid away from the end of that word, and that's just going down, like just downward spiral. There was no spark in the beginning, no passion. You're like, why are you even here? You had no interest in being here. What is this? Okay? And so I think we have to ask ourselves every day, am I an asteroid? Do I have like zero interest, zero passion? And how's that affecting other people? Because you're just like in my orbit, messing up my energy. Okay? Take your asteroid self and go away. And if you are a meteoroid, right? What can you do to reignite that passion? What can you do when you start seeing a dip to say, hey, no, I want to be on fire? Okay? Metaphorically, not literally. Please don't light yourselves on fire. So what can you do? And then if you want to be a star, how do you be a star? How do you be a star? That's not good English. How can you be a star, right? How can you be a star? Because being a star takes constant effort, and you need to be willing to put in that effort, else you just simply are going to be an asteroid. Okay? It's a hop of an analogy. It's a leap. It's a hop, skip, and a jump. But you can see where I'm going. Then my question again to myself, because I have these conversations in my head, not with other people, because then they think I'm crazy or weird or strange. So welcome to my world, if that's what you think now. If you knew that already, shh, it's our secret. I'm telling people a little bit at a time so they can get used to it. But my next question to myself was then like, okay, I'm saying in my head, in theory, it's a choice, right? You choose if you want to maintain your passion, you choose your attitude. But is it a choice? Because then I was like, okay, nature versus nurture. Maybe some people just have no idea how to be different. That's why they are annoying, or they are negative, or they are 0% passionate. And some people are just super energy balls of passion because that's all they know. So is it a choice? Is it nature or nurture? Have they chosen to do that? Have they been taught how to choose right from wrong? Do they know right from wrong? If they do, does it come naturally, or is it something they have to fight with every time? Because you can be a star but not naturally be a star, right? If we think about academic strength, you get people who just wake up in the morning and they're like, I'm good at maths. And I'm like, so sorry, we can't all be perfect, you know, like I'm not you. But good for you, you are a star at maths. I could have probably been a star at maths because I was an asteroid, no, a meteoroid. I started good. I started so well, and I was doing really well in primary school, and I was like on my way up. And then I went to high school and I was like, no, and then I just crashed and burned. And I also did not put a lot of effort in. So with a lot of effort, I probably could have stayed shining. I probably could have stayed a star. I could have kept going on the trajectory of being a really good math student. Okay, but what if I couldn't? What if I did put in all the effort that I didn't do? Sorry. What if I did and I still sucked at maths? Like, is it always a choice? I don't know. You tell me. I think there's more than just nature and nurture. I think you also have to consider two other things. So those two things I would say is called drive and environment, right? So your environment and your drive also play like a part, not just nature and nurture. So what I mean by that is nature is what comes naturally. Nurture is what you've been taught or what you keep doing. It's like habits, right? Process that you go through. And then environment is where you are. Because I feel like if you're surrounded by people that encourage you, or you're surrounded by an environment that encourages you to be a certain way, it's easier to be that way. So I think your environment does impact you slightly. I don't know if it's the be all and end all, but it definitely makes an impact. It's much easier to focus, for example, in a classroom that doesn't have 300 talking children, and where your best friend isn't sitting next to you, or there isn't construction work going on outside. So your environment definitely does impact your ability to succeed. Then we have something called drive, which I think surpasses all of these other three factors. Your drive is kind of a look at your nature, so what comes naturally to you, your nurture, what can you do, what have you been doing, what has been done to you to help you grow and think a certain way. So it surpasses your nature, your nurture, and your environment, because it doesn't matter where you are. If you have the drive to say, this is where I am, this is what I can do based on what I've learned how to do, what comes naturally to me, and what happens in my environment, but I have the drive to do better, or I have the drive to do worse. Some people are self-destructive, I don't know. If you have the drive to overcome something, then you can, right? So is it a choice? I don't know. Is it nature? Is it nurture? Or is it based on drive? And I think at the end of the day, it comes back to it being a choice, because you have to decide, do I have the drive to be a star? Am I going to drive myself to succeed, to stay a shining light always? Aw, so cute. Okay, then I actually have to look at my notes, because this has all been from my head. I made notes, yes. I made an entire PowerPoint slideshow because someone annoyed me. So yes, this is how my brain works. And yes, I've been sitting on this for like 3 weeks. I made it in one afternoon, kind of forgot about it. And then I was like, hey, that was actually a good analogy. So now I'm sharing my analogy. Again, this is not a judgment on that person. Like, whatever, do you, be negative if you want. And I feel like you could also not be one of those three things. Maybe you start off like a little lump of rock and you build some passion, and I hope that happens, right? I don't know if that would be classified as a meteoroid or not, but that can happen, and by all means I hope it does. But this is my analogy. This is no longer about that person. That was just inspiration. This is, I don't know, destination. Okay, I don't know if I winked properly or not. That was awkward. Okay, I need to look at my notes. I said all of that stuff. Ooh, this is cool. No, it's not. Okay, I already said this. This is me saying, are you like an inherently? That's not the right word. Are you why can't I speak English? Are you an inherently? Yeah. Are you an inherently positive person? Are you influenced by other people all the time, so you don't really have your own kind of internal balance? You're kind of just like, oh, everyone else is angry, I'm angry. Everyone else is happy, I'm happy. Some people are easily influenced. Or are you just inherently negative? Like, obviously we all have ups and downs. Even the most negative person has something they can be excited about, like other people's pain. I don't know. But what are you inherently? What comes naturally to you? And what do you choose, right? What do you want to be? And that comes down to this quote that I am waiting patiently for it to load. It doesn't want to load, and also you're stuck, so I can't even show you. It doesn't want to load. So I'm just going to try and remember what I said. I'm pretty sure it says, it's not loading. Oh my goodness. Our attitude determines your destination. Is that what it says? No. Our attitude towards life determines life's attitude towards us. Basically what it means is, if you're going to perceive the world as a negative place, negative things will keep popping out at you. If you're looking for the bad, you will find it. If you're looking for the good, you will find it, right? So it's all about what you're looking for. I'm not saying that if you're super positive, nothing bad will ever happen to you, or if you're super negative, nothing good will ever happen to you. But if you're focusing on bad or good, you will find more of that. It's just easier to find what you're looking for, always. It's easier to find bad when you're looking for bad. So if you're going to come in with a negative attitude and you're going to say, hey, this place sucks, or hey, I don't like this and this and this, instead of saying, hey, I'm not the biggest fan of this, but let's look for the upside. It's just in how you frame your thinking. Is there anything else I can say? Yes. I just can't remember what I want to say, so I need to look over there. I am looking, but there is just a picture, and I cannot remember why it's there. Basically, life goes up and down, and you can decide if you want to enjoy the journey or not. So things will happen, good and bad, and things will be up and things will be down. But if you're an inherently positive person, you can just enjoy the ride, because you know, although I'm down now, tomorrow I'll be on the up and up. And if you're a negative person, then even if you're having the time of your life on a roller coaster of emotions, you won't notice the ups because you're so busy worrying about the downs. You're like, oh, another down is gonna come. No. Like, you know, this is one of my favorite songs at the moment from AJR. They have very quotable songs, right? And this one I actually used as a caption when I fell. The lyrics go something along the lines of 100 bad days made 100 good stories. So there's 100 good stories that can come out of bad things that happen. And 100 good stories make me interesting at parties. So basically the whole song is about how you can find the positive even in the negative, and you can learn from it, or you can have fun with it. You know, you just kind of have to say, oops, it happened. Don't know whether to laugh or to cry. Might as well laugh instead of crying, because if you cry, you're sad and you also can't see what you're doing because tears will be in your eyes. So yes, it's science. Be happy instead of sad so that you can see better. This has been me talking for a very long time about rocks in space. And I don't know if you see my analogy. I don't know if you see what I was trying to say. It doesn't really matter to me. No offense to you. I just think it's an easier way for me to process the world is to analogify things, okay? To make analogies. Analogify is not a word, and I don't think it should be. I thought it would sound cooler than it did when I said it. But I like to make analogies. I like to draw comparisons because it's easier to process. And it's just like, okay, I already know this thing, and now there's a new thing, so how do I make this thing fit into all the other things I already know? Ooh, this is a weird thing to do with your hands. Do it. Do it with me, friends. Lift your hands. Now do this. Whee! And then an analogy. Doing this is like a jellyfish or a crab or someone playing piano. Ooh. Okay, anyways, yeah. This started so good and it just went down, kind of like